Hi, in this video, I want to talk about the differences between the terms sensory and motor as applied to the nervous system. We use the terms sensory and motor as adjectives, and these can be used to refer to parts of the brain or pathways leading to and from the brain, or they can also refer to types of neurons, but they are adjectives. The term sensory is always referring to going towards the central nervous system. For example, a sensory neuron will bring a signal towards the central nervous system. A sensory pathway will be delivering a signal towards the central nervous system. Whereas motor is the opposite. Motor means away from the central nervous system. So a motor neuron would carry a signal away from the central nervous system. If a sensory pathway or neuron is delivering information to the central nervous system, then that means the information has to be coming from not the central nervous system. In this case, the information is coming from some sort of sensory organ or sensory cell. For example, if we were to look at an example with a sensory neuron, here we have a finger, it's being pressed on by a tack, so that's going to hurt, and it's going to activate pain sensory cells. And these are a type of neuron that will deliver a signal towards the central nervous system. So this neuron would be a sensory neuron. It's part of a sensory pathway. Another term for sensory, just to make things confusing, is afferent. I'll talk more about that term in a little bit. Let's go back to our motor term. So we know that motor signals, motor pathways, motor neurons are delivering information away from the central nervous system. But where is it going to? It's going to a muscle typically or a gland. For example, a motor neuron that's part of a motor pathway will deliver a signal away from the central nervous system to a muscle or gland. Motor can also be called efferent. So I mentioned the term afferent over here and now efferent. Let's talk about what these mean. And a good way to kind of understand this is to look at another example of where we use these terms. Well, first of all, afferent means to go towards the center, and efferent means to go away from the center. Down here, I've drawn a lymph node. You've probably heard of these. They are important for your immune system. We have a lot of immune system cells that live in our lymph nodes, and body fluids will go into the lymph node, and our immune system cells will look through that fluid for pathogens and then start a specific immune response if needed. But there are vessels that lead into a lymph node and vessels that lead out of a lymph node. The vessel leading into the lymph node is the afferent vessel. It's delivering the lymph towards the center here being the lymph node. The efferent vessel is removing the lymph fluid from the lymph node. So the efferent vessel is going away from the center again being the lymph node. So afferent and efferent are just general terms that we use in biology. Afferent meaning towards the center, and because it means towards the center, it also is synonymous with sensory as applied to the nervous system. Efferent means to go away from the central nervous system, and so does the term motor. So motor and efferent can be interchangeable. I hope this video helped you to understand the differences between sensory and motor as applied to the nervous system.